All right, we will commence the budget hearing number 2 on September the 8th, 2025. And before we start, let's go over the approval of the agenda. I hear a motion.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, and so now we will move forward with the approval of the minutes from the previous meetings. So do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, let's proceed with business.
Okay, our complying with the State Department for 2 budget hearings is being done today, so it's our second budget hearing. Courtney, take it away.
Good morning, or good afternoon. Thank you for attending our second budget hearing. We have discussed our budget extensively in the work session we had in the first budget hearing. So I'm just gonna go over some highlights of our budget. Our FY26 budget prioritizes people, investing in teachers, staff, and student support while planning ahead for rising costs and long-term facility needs. Today, I just want to focus on the one-page document here, this Exhibit B1A that I submit to the State Department of Education in order for them to approve our budget. And I just want to go over the general fund. We're expecting about $47.6 million from the State Department of Education. We will receive about $59 million from local ad valorem tax sources, resulting in total revenues of $106.9 million. Our expenditures are anticipated to be $103 million. And I just want to note that 80% of our budgeted general fund expenditures are for salaries and benefits. And we discussed and how we reallocated resources in our personnel and financial resources section of the budget earlier, how we added teachers at certain schools, et cetera. And I just want to note, we have not increased the total number of employees from last year. We've simply reorganized and reallocated our staff to better meet the needs of our students. So we will end FY26 with about $19 million in fund balance, which is a little over 2 months, with the goal being 2 months of fund balance, but the board's goal being 2 months all along. So we're finally getting caught up to that goal. The State Department requires us to have 1 month of fund balance. And just another fund I want to note really quick, our total revenues from the Capital Projects Fund are anticipated to be $3.6 million for FY26. And you see that we budgeted to spend $8.5 million. The reason for this excess of expenditures over revenues is because we received our advancement in technology money of $7 million in FY25. And we did spend some of that allocation in FY25, but the balance of it, the $5 million that is in fund balance at the beginning of FY26 will be spent in FY26 for infrastructure, Chromebooks and capital needs. So does anyone have any questions about the budget?
I appreciate you mentioning that about employees, and I do want to note on the reserve part that 2 months is a solid reserve. I've always personally felt like we're not here to save. We're here to be very frugal with our expenses. We're here to invest the monies that have been entrusted to us. But there has to be a security blanket. State says 1 month. We think 2 is important. So we're not just packing dollars away. We're being responsible. I think we said it. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the good work to get us to that point, Courtney.
Along those lines, historically, that's where we've been.
Yeah, we had a period probably a decade ago when we were up 4 months or more, somewhere in that range. But that was intended to be purposeful because we would pull down that reserve to pay for a lot of projects that were done about a decade ago. So it caused us not to have to borrow as much money as we had to. But yeah, you can see it right there. We were in a good spot, but that was intentionally going to come down, and it did. Certainly did. I would say that when all that was decided, we had some unanticipated costs that came along the way, like purchasing Berry, purchasing Dolly Riggs. Those were not part of the original plan. They were a good part, and a good addition to the plan, but that was a pretty good hit on the reserve. And so we dropped a little bit lower than we wanted to, but we got back to 2, and that's a positive. Since you were with us last time, we did get the tax abstract from Jefferson County, and that's an early indicator of what we're going to get the next fiscal year. We budgeted 1% last year, and that's about where it's coming in, and it's about the same this year. So we had several years of really nice growth, and then we've had level back off. So that's why we're conservatively budgeting very little increase in the local dollars this year. Because that tax abstract says how home values aren't going to be going up that much. So that's probably the newest information since we last met.
Which goes along with the 1%
Yep.
that we were showing.
Yep. I was hopeful it might be a little different when we got the abstract, but it's not. So.
I would assume that would make our treasury sweeps look a lot more favorable. I mean, it's a fantastic program.
Yeah, our monthly, interest income it's been holding around 100,000, but, you know, we've still got a good amount in there. I think we have about 25 million probably right now, but, you know, in October, November, December, that's gonna slowly get depleted until our property tax start coming in January through March.
It is notable though, that to end this fiscal year, we're gonna have realized about how much you think in interest income.
Probably at least $1 million.
Yeah. That may moderate a little bit. You guys on the accounting finance people can speak a little more broadly, but if the Fed does take some action in reduction in interest rates, it likely have some impact, I would think, making that less.
Yeah. We're still held at around 4%, which is a
Yeah.
good amount.
So it's a positive for sure. Okay, Courtney, thank you for the work.
Thank you.
Okay, board members, I am going to make a recommendation on item A under business to approve the fiscal year 2026 budget.
Board members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the fiscal year 2026 budget. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that concludes the business for today. Is there anyone here for public comment? Okay, since there is no one here, we are going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you.